Movies are more than just entertainment. They're windows into the past, a way to preserve our history, culture, and imagination. But what happens when those windows are shattered? When entire films vanish, leaving behind only whispers of their existence? From controversial political dramas to bizarre superhero battles and cultural milestones, these are the films that have been lost to time. Four Devils, Kalidas, Ragazzo, and many more. Why were they lost? How did it happen? And could they ever be found again? Ragazzo, Italian for boy, is a 1934 Italian lost film directed by Ivo Perilli. The film was censored by the Italian government, and its only known copy was subsequently looted by German soldiers in 1944 and has not resurfaced. The film follows Giovanni, a working-class orphan living in Rome, who realizes that his criminal lifestyle is wrong and becomes a devout fascist. Ragazzo was the only completed Italian film, out of approximately 700, not to be released due to government censorship between 1930 and 1944. The Italian Censorship Commission, as well as Benito Mussolini himself, objected to the film's portrayal of the poorer sections of Rome, which the government had claimed no longer existed, and that a model fascist could arise from a criminal gang of hooligans. As such, the film was never released nor screened in any Italian theatre. Batman Fights Dracula is a 1967 Filipino superhero film directed by Leody M. Diaz and scripted by Bert R. Mendoza. The film, which was not authorized by DC, is thought to be lost. The story concerned the mad scientist named Dr. Zorba who, after repeatedly being defeated by Batman, finds a way to resurrect the wicked Count Dracula, control him, and even make him stronger, rendering him invincible towards traditional ways of killing him, such as Christian crosses. The Aviator is a 1929 American pre-code Vitaphone comedy film produced and released by Warner Brothers, directed by Roy Del Ruth. The film was based on the play of the same name by James Montgomery and stars Edward Everett Horton and Patsy Ruth Miller. The Aviator is similar to the silent comedy The Hottentot, 1922, where a hapless individual has to pretend to be a famous steeplehorse jockey. The film follows Brooks. A publisher and his publicist decide to boost the sales of a wartime book of flying experiences. They credit the book to popular author Robert Street, who is completely ignorant about aviation. No film elements of The Aviator are known to survive. The soundtrack, which was recorded on Vitaphone discs, may survive in private hands. On February 13, 1956, Jack Warner sold the rights to all of his pre-1950 films to Associated Artists Productions. It does not appear to have been shown on television or reissued. Roy dell'Espacio, English for Roy of Space or Roy from Space, is a 1983 Mexican animated science fiction film produced and directed by Hector Lopez Carmona, Rafael Angel Gil, and Ulises Perez Aguirre. Produced from 1979 to 1982, it is one of the first feature-length Mexican animated films ever made. Roy dell'Espacio premiered on 3 March 1983, playing in several theaters in Mexico. Retrospective reviews of Roy dell'Espacio have referred to it as an example of artistic ineptitude and a real disaster. It is now considered a lost film. Only still images from the film are known to survive. The movie follows the titular character Roy, who, along with Dr. Faz and psychologist Elena, travels to a distant planet and faces an evil emperor who wants to conquer the Earth. Roy dell'Espacio premiered in 12 theaters and cinemas in Mexico City on March 3, 1983, but was quickly withdrawn from exhibition due to poor public acceptance. 11. There are no reviews made at the time of its premiere, but retrospective critics classified it as an example of artistic ineptitude and called it a real disaster. The film was also criticized for its excessive use of cliches about science fiction and its low level of animation, with very rudimentary drawings and rough movements. In addition, There were complaints about the plagiarism of Flash Gordon, whose 1936 film serial were traced frames to use them as a basis for Roy's characters and scenes. Kalidas is a groundbreaking 1931 Indian film and the first Tamil language talkie. Directed by H. M. Reddy, it is a cultural milestone in Indian cinema. The film combines Tamil dialogue with Hindi songs, showcasing the linguistic diversity of India at the time. It tells the story of the legendary poet Kalidasa and his transformation from an uneducated man to one of the greatest literary figures in history. The movie was a huge success upon its release and ran for 50 days in theatres, an impressive feat for its era. However, due to the lack of proper preservation practices in the early days of Indian cinema, Kalidas is now considered a lost film. No known copies or reels survive today. All that remains are historical records and a few promotional materials. This loss is particularly tragic because it marked a pivotal moment in Indian cinema, ushering in a new era of talkies. While Kalidas may be gone, its legacy lives on as a reminder of how cinema can transcend language and culture. Four Devils is a lost 1928 American synchronized sound drama film directed by German director F. W. Murnau and starring Janet Gaynor. While the film has no audible dialogue, it was released with a synchronized musical score with sound effects using the sound-on-film movie tone process. The plot is that four orphans become a high-wire act and encounter sinister goings-on at a circus. An old clown takes in the four children, Charles, Adolphe, Marion, and Louise, to protect them from the brutal circus owner who is their guardian. He raises them and trains them to become acrobats. No copies of either version of the film are known to exist, and Four Devils remains among the most sought-after lost films of the early sound era. Details of the movie can be found on the DVD for Sunrise, released by Fox as part of their 20th Century Fox Studio Classics collection. Film historian and collector William K. Everson stated that the only surviving print was lost by actress Mary Duncan, who had borrowed it from Fox Studios. Martin Kerber, curator of Deutsche Kinemathek, is more hopeful, writing that the print was given to Duncan and that her heirs, if any, may yet have it. In 2003, the documentary short Murnau's Four Devils, Traces of a Lost Film by film historian Janet Bergstrom was released, showing a reconstruction using stills, drawings, sketches, and script drafts. I hope you liked the video. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want me to record something else, or if you have an idea, leave a comment.